Okay, Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Tonight we have a packed show. We're going to go over the entire weekend of everything that just happened. Of course, a massive geostorm hit. Of course, we're going to talk about a monstrous comet that is heading our way. And then, of course, everything else that is going on in the world. So stick around. We'll be right back with everything. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logged, basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right. What is happening? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. If you've never been here before, we're going to go over a lot of topics, and of course, we're going to back that up. In fact, every video, tweet, article, picture, or anything that we show you here today will be backed up on our website, marfooglenews.com. Now, when you go over to marfooglenews.com, you will see it's very easy to navigate by thumbnail. So you will look for today's thumbnail, Geostorm, Monstrous Comet, Did We Get Lucky? And then that, of course, is talking about the storm. The Monstrous Comet is not here yet. When you click on that, you will see that we have every single link. So it is a bibliography of all of our sources to make sure that you know exactly where we are getting this stuff from. We're not picking this up from tabloids. Again, you know, as much as I love the Babylon Bee, we're not actually, we're not reading those. Of course, these are mainstream articles that we go over and critique and then, of course, question, which I believe is part of our right as a human being, or at least it should be, and it won't be. So pay attention. Thank you to Dustin for subscribing. Old Wookie Below, thank you so much for subscribing as well. Thank you for all the people that have popped in already to the show. And then, of course, let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex. What is going on? How are you doing tonight? And how is this show going to be?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. You know, I'm doing great.
So obviously we have a lot here. We'll get into it. We have, I believe, 25 different stories here, so a lot happening. Navy nuclear engineer charged with trying to pass secrets. It says a Navy nuclear engineer with access to military secrets has been charged with trying to pass information about the design of an American nuclear-powered submarine to someone he thought was a representative of a foreign government, but who turned out to be an undercover FBI agent, the Justice Department said Sunday. So before we even continue, obviously, so if this is just some Joe Schmo that's passing on nuclear secrets, think about how many times this has happened before. This was an undercover. If they happened to catch the one guy with an undercover, think about how many secrets have snuck out via other things. Dex, have you thought about that? Like this guy had kind of a entrapment type of thing where, you know, the FBI agent, or I shouldn't say that because entrapment's illegal, but they basically got this guy, right?
Yeah, he was pitching his sale to the wrong person, apparently. But yeah, it certainly does raise your eyebrows to think if this guy can do it. And when you hear everything he did and to what extent he went through, it certainly makes you question how many times this has happened and it wasn't found out about.
Now, it says that he was trying to sell the info, right? It wasn't a physical device. It wasn't an actual BOMB, right?
No, it was just plans. He was offering up plans and details and technical information about the nuclear-powered submarines.
So it's just kind of funny. I do not believe that it actually clarifies. It says, Toby, 42 years old, was arrested in West Virginia on Saturday along with his 45-year-old wife It says after he had placed a removable memory card at a prearranged dead drop in Jefferson County, according to the Justice Department. It says it wasn't immediately clear whether Toby had a lawyer. The Tobles, or Tobes, are from Annapolis, Maryland. The Navy declined to comment Sunday. It says the FBI accused tried to sell info for cryptocurrency. So he was trying to get a crypto in a secret account there. It says the FBI says that the scheme began in April 2020 when Jonathan Tobe sent a package of Navy documents to a foreign government and said that he was interested in selling operations manuals, performance reports, and other sensitive information. Authorities say that he also provided instructions on how to conduct a furtive relationship with a letter that said, "I apologize for this poor translation into your language. Please forward this letter to your military intelligence agency. I believe this information will be of great value to your nation. This is not a hoax." It says the FBI's legal office in the foreign country received the package, which had a return address of Pittsburgh. Last December, that led to a months-long undercover operation in which an agent posing as a representative of the foreign government offered to pay thousands of dollars in cryptocurrency for the information Tobe was offering. So it doesn't actually say the country that this guy was trying to sell it to. And that, I find, is... you would find that you would think that was a extremely important part.
Yeah, this is coming from public information out of the legal documents. So yeah, the country was not exposed in that. But so, yeah, you can leave it up to your imagination. But I would think he's selling this to somebody significant.
Well, I have a guess that it's either Russia or China. I am leaning more towards China. Especially since China is one of the hardest languages to translate, language into. It says that, sorry about the poor translation, the one translator that everybody uses is not too good with English to Chinese and Chinese to English, or vice versa, right? So I just wonder if that was what was happening. Especially right now around how the U.S., Australia, and then, of course, the U.K. have made this submarine deal, this specifically nuclear submarine deal. It's very odd that we have some guy basically trying to reach China or whoever, we still don't know, and say, hey, I've got information for you that would be of value. How does this dumbass basically go about trying to find somebody in the Chinese government? How dumb did this guy have to be? Maybe he didn't figure out that that foreign government may already be infiltrated and maybe working with us already. Who knows? Or pulling the strings for some people. Who knows? We don't know. It says the following week, FBI agents watched as the Tobes arrived at an agreed-upon location in West Virginia for the exchange, with Diana Tobe appearing to serve as a lookout for her husband. So that's why she got arrested. It says during the dead drop operation, according to the complaint, the FBI recovered a blue SD card wrapped in plastic and placed between two slices of bread on a peanut butter sandwich. Dude, he could have just handed somebody a freaking SD card. He was trying to go like full on 007 with this thing, like in a sandwich. Who gives a stranger a sandwich? That would look 10 times weirder. If I saw one dude like walk up all shady and sweaty and hand another dude a sandwich, I'd go, that was a drug deal, or that was something shady. Sorry, that's just the funniest thing I've ever heard. A peanut butter sandwich. Why couldn't it have been like a ham sandwich or something that doesn't have peanut butter involved? Just blows my mind. I know that it's wrapped in plastic, but still, that is pretty dumb. There are people like this all over our government. There's people like this in every government. So, of course, things get leaked out. Loose lips sink ships. So, and then, of course, with NASA partnership, Orlando begins planning for air taxis and flying cars. We've talked about this for quite a while here on the show. We've shown you that the technological advances that are happening right now. We've shown you some of the actual devices, the cars. They're even coming with jetpacks. In fact, I tweeted about a week ago the U.S. military using these kind of jetpacks that have kind of these two glove hands with two jets on each, and then a jetpack that actually works. I mean, this thing is fully functional now, and they're actually doing drills from these little inflatable boats going up to, say, a huge tanker or something like that. And they have it specially fitted for a seat in the front where the guy with the jetpack sits on it, basically like a backwards chair, like an 80s, music video. And then when he takes off, he just goes like this, whoosh, and then he can board a ship almost silently. It's not as loud. The problem is, I guess it smells really bad like rotten eggs because of what the fuel is. But silently, a Navy SEAL could get aboard a foreign vessel and, go up to the cockpit or, go do some stuff. Or if they have multiple of these, you could have 10 guys get on deck. And it actually showed them switching from the gloves that have the jetpacks, hooking them onto their side and then them switching to their arm. So it's pretty cool, but this is, again, something that's happening in the next couple years. This is not going to take 10 years. It won't even take 5 years. The laws and everything else have already been worked on for years. They've been setting up this with the airspace. That's why even if you are a consumer and you have drones, those drones have been highly restricted, and a lot of us knew that they were going to start using that for commercial drones. But another reason for that is because they've been setting this up for flying objects. It might be corporate, might not be residential flights or say Bob driving to Amazon in a jetpack or something yet. But it is getting there, and that's crazy. This is like something out of The Fifth Element. It says Orlando is preparing for when flying cars are an option for those who want to soar over the congested highways or between nearby cities. And they may arrive far sooner than 2062, as the Jetsons predicted. The city has signed into a partnership with NASA and developed strategies for welcoming electric oversized drones. This is exactly what I was talking about. In fact, there is one that is now already crowdfunded, and they're selling these things. Essentially, it's a two-person plane/drone where the helicopter blades go up and forward, turns into a plane when it's gliding, uses almost no electricity when it's gliding, and then when it's landing and whatever else, I guess it can actually run with half of the motors or half of the battery. What they don't say, though, is what if both happen, if you lose half your motors and half of your battery pack. But basically, they're saying that it's to the point where it's as safe as it can be, and it's almost safer than driving a car because you will have no traffic or once they set up the system. So this is part of the huge, massive changes that are happening right now, and most likely part of the reason why everything in the world is changing. They want to take out cars by 2025 in some cities, including Seattle. They want to get rid of cars by a certain year, and then they are already closing down residential streets to through traffic. They're making them walking only. All sorts of weird stuff. In fact, they've, I think, now close to 8 miles or something, or 20 miles of roads they've closed to all through traffic unless you absolutely live there or you're visiting somebody. But this, as far as it says, though, officials suspect the mode of transportation could take off in coming years. So far, the Federal Aviation Authority hasn't approved such vehicles for use, but a recent study found that a piece of projected $2.5 billion market could be in play for early adopters of the technology. It says, quote, "We've heard from different operators, and their hope is to be in operation with passengers sometime in the 2024-2025 timeframe." So this is exactly where we put it. For whatever reason, every single article says right around that 2024-25. I hate that. That year in particular, we'll talk about later. As far as we're in solar cycle 25 right now, we're having unbelievable solar storms already. We are only about a year into the actual, or I'm sorry, we're a little bit, yeah. So wait, we're almost 2 years into it, I believe. Yeah, almost 2 years into it. And we're already way past where we should be. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say this is moving pretty fast in the sense that the government there has already outlined $1 million in investment for this company from Germany to build these ports. And it's going to probably cost about 25 million, I think the article says. But there's also a couple of photos in here. The second photo, I think, gives a much better rendition of what this specific drone looks like. It's got, like 36 engines on it. And you can see them across both wings and the rear wings if you go to that second photo.
That's really weird. So do these turn, or how does this, does it take off like a plane and land like a plane? That is so weird.
It's vertical takeoff. So they'll flip up and then they'll rotate.
Wow, that is so incredible. So imagine, this is something that ends up in the next 10 years or so. So this will be available for the rich, right? They'll somehow set up this. I guarantee you, though, people won't be able to fly them. I bet you this will be all, driverless, to where they set up areas and they set up kind of these highways in the sky, kind of like with real planes, only this will take the pilot out of it. If it is autonomous, then they don't have to. It clears a lot of roadblocks as far as not only investing in it, but as far as accidents and a lot of the safety issues. That is the other one that I saw that was designed with 8 motors. That one, much bigger rotors. That one, again, they said that they hope for it to be fully autonomous, and that's how they're designing it too. It says drone.
I bet one of the first places is going to be Cape Canaveral, because Orlando's a popular destination to then zip over to Cape Canaveral for NASA. So if they're investing in this and then being part of it, I imagine they're probably going to be one of the first proprietors of this.
Well, and we already covered that, Dubai is having a lot of crazy stuff. They're talking about flying taxis. They might even already have it already. Dubai has been this crazy, these rich oil tycoons have wanted to be the first in all this weird stuff. They've done tons of publicity stunts, doing the most expensive thing that they possibly can. They cannot burn all of the money that they have, or even 10% of it in their entire lifetimes if they buy everything they possibly can. So they just do the wildest, stupidest crap. Mary Kelly Remnell, thank you so much. Thank you for supporting independent media. Mary Kelly Remnell, thank you guys for going above and beyond. I appreciate that. You didn't even write anything, I believe a super sticker. But Watcher 2 says, what if the storm is actually the meteor storm we are heading for? And all of this other propaganda around the web is to throw us off. Much love, family. The hardest part about finding the truth, they say, it's finding a needle in a haystack. It's actually harder to find a needle in a stack of needles. If they put a ton of stuff out there that it just so many directions that it distracts you, then when the real stuff comes up, they just straight up deny it. When it's common sense. I mean, I think that a lot of the stories now and a lot of the stuff that happens, I think that essentially people have been trained over the last 30 years to not see situational things. Like I watched live on the TV as they on a certain day in the beginning of the year where it was super obvious that they were letting people in and that they were waiting and waiting and waiting, and they kept cutting in and out video, audio, accidentally letting the audio run for them to say some dramatic stuff and then dropping it. And it's like, okay, first of all, our government has a plan for everything. Absolutely everything. They have escape rooms. They have secret rooms in that same building. They would have ushered them out the second. They wouldn't have them wait for them to get there and to put a damn chair against the door or whatever it was. I mean, come on. They even updated, the first one's breached. First of all, if nothing funky was there, what the hell are you doing after the building's breached? Get people out. Just, again, super weird stuff. But that should be common sense, that there was some weirdness there. And now the cameras have come out. The angles have came out. And it's like, come on. what is so crazy is the truth ends up coming out 4 or 5, 6 months after they get something done from the lie. And it doesn't matter by then, because by then it's old news. Nobody cares. And when you correct people and go, see, we told you so, it doesn't matter. By then they've moved on to the next lie, which won't be corrected for another 6 months. And then they go back and it doesn't matter. It's just a never-ending cycle. And they can just blatantly do it. Because guess what? If you have media backing you up and, retracting stuff later, then who cares? It's just nuts. Drones deliver sushi and ice cream above Tel Aviv skyline. It says the reality of sushi, ice cream, and medicine deliveries by drone moved a step closer on Monday as Israel's National Drone Initiative launched its third phase. Flying over residential areas in Tel Aviv, Jaffa, Ramat Sharon, Herzliya, and Hadera, the pilot program conducted the third stage of 8 tests it will run as it moves forward with its mission to create a national drone network. So this is just further confirming what we were saying. Other countries are doing it. I do believe this plays a bigger part in kind of the overall plan of things. If they want, they can get everybody into these main hub cities and then have these drones deliver stuff. We are separating. They want to separate people and make us like a fuel cell. They want to plug us into a tiny plug-in and leave us there to generate wealth for them. We are the resource. So as far as like, if people ask, why would they want people in mega cities? Well, it's easy. People are separated. They're isolated, but at the same time they're consolidated. They could drone things to everybody, and it would. It's people think this is for convenience. Overall, you'll think it is, and then all of a sudden, it will be much easier to start ripping away any kind of things that people can own. In fact, there's a great example of a country right over there to the east. I believe that even if you are a multi-billionaire, you cannot own a single ounce of property there. Pretty sad. And actually, that country has made more billionaires than most other countries. And guess where they buy their land? Here. Because they can't own their own. So, again, they're making that network. And then power outage warning. Big solar flare heading to Earth. Time of direct hit predicted. So, here's the thing. So, this storm hit. I wanted to point out. And, by the way, this hit... And most people are saying, oh, goodness sake, everything's fine. But I actually think that there's a lot of weird stuff that happened. And this is just my opinion. I'm just going to share my opinion on this. It says high-latitude power systems may experience voltage alarms. This is what was said. It says spacecraft satellite orientation irregularities may occur. Increased drag on low Earth orbit satellites is possible. And it says the sun is the primary cause of space weather. At times, the sun can be thought of as going through a stormy period where its surface is more active than normal. When this happens, it can send streams of energized particles out in all directions, which can be observed through the northern lights and the southern lights. While these solar events can help illuminate the sky with stunning auroras, they can also do considerable harm to electronics, electrical grids, and satellite and radio communications. Cybersecurity expert Chris Vickery wrote on Twitter, heads up, big solar flare observed and headed for Earth. Trajectory is going to be a direct hit. Expect low-level geomagnetic disruption. Now, again, this was a direct hit, and they actually predicted it beforehand. I do want to point out that all over the country, I saw that PG&E and others were actually about a day ago. In fact, it was yesterday and the day before, all of them announced that they would be doing random shutoffs. But they didn't give times or dates as far as when. They just said Monday, which is today when this storm hit. So my only wonder here, and again, this is something that when you actually Google, so let's see here, power outages, when you look up this, right? Look what pops up. So look at this. All of these different places, and it's all over the place. It says that it's planned. India states hit by power outages as coal supply still tight. Lebanon suffers 24-hour blackout, food poison, blah, blah, blah. Cruise freight brush fire amidst planned power outages in North San Luis Obispo County. It says storm brings tornado, rain, some power outages to region in St. Louis. It says PG&E and planned power in California. And I'm telling you, you go down this line, in the same 2-day period, all over the country and all over the world, they just had planned power shutoffs for the normal reasons, right? Dex, did you see how many places were planning just as of like 24 hours ago or about 36 hours ago? They just happened to plan to do maintenance or to have power shut off or to do it to save power. Did you notice that?
Yeah, the timing is very interesting, right?
And again, maybe they expected this and they didn't want people to panic if it was worse than it was. So here's the thing: maybe, who knows? This very well could have been why some of these places are out. There could have been satellite effects on this, cell phone coverage, all sorts of things could have went out. Look at this, Fresno. It's like there's so many different ones. Just look it up yourself; you'll see a ton. India states hit by power outages. 23 hours. There's tons. Oklahoma towns hit by storm. These are storm related, but again, there is a ton that are actual planned power outages. And of course, it could be because of the rolling blackouts and saving power. But I just thought it was funny that it all falls on Monday when they've known for a minute here that this was coming our way. Maybe they were predicting that if it was way worse than what happened, maybe they planned that to reduce panic. Very well could be. What do you guys think? Put it in the comments down below. As far as this storm, I do believe it did have an effect. It wasn't as bad, but this is the thing. This solar cycle 25 has already been the most insane cycle we've had in a long time. In fact, I want to get some experts on here. I definitely would like to have like Wages World on again. Have him, tell us about what he's been watching. In fact, again, tomorrow would be a great day to have Wages on. But to go over all the people that monitor this are saying that this is possibly going to be the worst solar cycle we've ever had, and that's no exaggeration. The reason why is they've looked at this for 400 years, and now there's a whole second set of science, which now I believe that the White House was going off of, and they know that this is going to be way worse. All of everything lines up for 2024 and it's not just thrown out there randomly. They're not guessing. They're looking at the different patterns as far as how long these were. There've been groups of 4 12-year periods, and then after so many cycles you see a 10-year short cycle, and then after that Terminator event, you see the new cycle start, and then that one in particular is really strong and is tied to historical events that have led to extinctions, that have led to massive disasters here on Earth, massive weather changes, and again, weather is something that is 100% in every mainstream news article now, because they're talking about everything going on right now. In fact, it's our fault. So, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you, ED Vet says PG&E rolling outages due to increased wind today. Again, it depends on where you are. I mean, you really could have just rolling outages because you have a ton of wind. But as far as, some of the places that don't have any weather and they say that they're saving power, all of them line up for Monday. Look at how many for yourself, and then you tell me what you think. And then Bones, what is going on? You don't have to do that. Thank you so much for supporting independent media. Thank you, Bones. You already do enough down there. And then Brandon Scott, man, thank you for the massive help. It says, just wanted to show some love to the show. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Adam and Dex, for what you do. I will catch a replay tomorrow. Stay woke and alert, Foogle fam. Hey, big shout out to Brandon Scott and Mary Kelly Remnell. Thank you, guys. And then Seraphina, thank you for your support as well. Delaware Sasquatch says, Sasquatch prep report, spaghetti sauce, pasta, mustard, juice boxes, water, TPK, and vegetables in very short supply today. Prepare. Not only that, we're seeing more happen from China. We'll talk about that here in a bit. Less and less is coming, and very few things have even gotten in. They say that nothing is like really leaving China, only a few items and a few containers. So pretty creepy. Are they having the same shortages we are? I highly doubt it. But you be the judge. You tell me. Dex, do you have any, as far as like, I was going to ask your opinion on everything that we've looked at. Do you remember we have had huge discussions about this as far as the solar weather and solar cycle 25?
Yeah, so we've seen tons of activity, and it's interesting because what they do is they look at what's called a halo, and if the activity has a perfect halo around the sun, that means it's heading directly at us, right? If the halo is sort of misaligned or off to one side or the other, then they know it's not. I guess it can actually have a halo if it's heading directly away from us on the other side, but it is not uncommon for them to actually be able to see that these CMEs are actually happening and determine if they're headed directly for us. And we've had quite a few that have been near misses. Like, it's, headed directly at us, but it may miss us by just a little bit. And we get some northern lights out of it, but we don't get the direct hit. And, some of those that we've missed could have been very catastrophic. They've been some pretty big flare-ups or CMEs, coronal mass ejections. So.
Now, do you remember, just to read this part, it says it comes less than a month after scientists warned that the sun has the potential to unleash a devastating internet apocalypse. Now, most people say, oh, who cares? The internet's down. We're talking about permanent damage to the whole infrastructure of the world, which now is all completely dependent on these kind of services. It says, so far this year, dozens of CMEs have missed Earth. Many of them were near misses, provoking no more than minor geomagnetic unrest as they pass by. It said this storm, however, the sun is shooting straight. So this one was, if this was a bigger storm, we would have had everything knocked out. And we're talking about a chaotic kind of apocalyptic event if this was a bigger storm. This is what the thing is, though. They know that there is going to be activity, and they know it's going to be unpredictable, but at the same time, there are some things that can be predicted. If you actually watch and look at some of the research that's being done, it's actually kind of scary. There's more scientists now that are starting to agree with these new models that line up for the 22-year model instead of the 11-year model. When you look at the 22-year model, it actually makes a whole lot more sense. And as far as, I'm not a scientist, but some of the most respected scientists in the world are now advising and telling people to prepare for an extremely, extremely devastating solar storm. It says, according to Sangeetha Abdu-Jyothi, a professor of computer science and the study's author, even a few minutes of global internet outage would be catastrophic. It says, in a worst-case scenario, the outage could last for days or even months. In her paper titled Solar Superstorms, Planning for an Internet Apocalypse, Professor Jyothi says the internet has played a key role in helping us deal with the pandemic and a recent black swan event. It says, however, internet researchers and operators are mostly blind to another black swan event, which poses a direct threat to internet infrastructure. In this paper, we investigate the impact of solar superstorms that can potentially cause large-scale internet outages covering the entire globe and lasting several months. It says major solar storms have lashed the planet in the past, but those occurred before the advent of the internet, satellite technology, and high-speed communications. The biggest solar storm on record occurred in 1859 and is known as the Carrington event. So they expect a new one to happen every 150 years. It's been 160. Go ahead.
Right. And just to add some clarity from that previous story, what they were talking about is a lot of the cable that is run between the continents through the ocean is what's susceptible. So when that cable inducts the electric current, it can blow out the repeaters and the other systems that are part of that cable run between destinations across the continent, across oceans connecting continents. So, that plus all of the local stuff that can happen too. But that's kind of a big deal. Like, you can fix a data center relatively, quickly, like in days or weeks. But, repairing some of this stuff going through the oceans is not like it's not like let's just replace some Ethernet cords and put a new router in. It's kind of a big deal, right?
And that's why they've watched these Russian ships. There was a very specific team that was watching these Russian scientific ships because they had a very specific drone, underwater submersible drone that was on board that had snippers that they said was possibly specifically made for the purpose of cutting the underwater cables. These aren't just cables. They aren't like the cables like you have plugged into your computer. These are cables maybe the size of a human underwater, but these things would cut them. If they did, that would cut ourselves and Europe completely off. If you team that up or tag team that with, of course, knocking out satellites, either a huge EMP or a huge CME, this is why we've been talking about this for a long time. I hope people end up preparing for this because it is a real thing. And it's not only that, I think more information is going to come out soon that you guys are going to go, holy crap. This is, in my mind, and this is my opinion, this is a when, not an if. And I'm not even talking about the natural kind. The natural kind is a guaranteed win. We will have another Carrington level event. And they say every 150 years, it's already been 160. So if we know that our system isn't set up for it yet, guess whose is? Guess who they've been preparing this entire time? DHS, DOD, the military, the government, all of the government buildings. Here's another thing I want you to think of. Why is the president doing videos from a soundstage, which they say is across the street? Because of construction, right? Why? There's a lot of weird stuff going on right now. Why else would they have to do that? They could have a sound stage. They could even have press join. Because guess what? People go, well, look, there's like 30 press here. Well, guess what? The press are in on a lot of stuff, especially if they hand choose some of the press to be there with them. In fact, the entire time through the T-Man thing, he was hand-picking press to do certain things that the other press couldn't. Nobody's complaining, though, because they're all in there. What if that's an underground bunk with press that are invited down and they're, told? We might find this out. Somebody from the press might leak this. I just think it's weird that the prez is not in his normal office and they say they're doing construction. Like, really, during all of this going on with the potential for a actual hostile conflict with China right now, with CV and everything else that's happening, why would they put it across the street? Again, it has a projector. This is all fact. The stage that he's on has a projector thing on the windows to make it look like it's the Rose Garden when it's really just a screen, right? That's where he's been doing stuff for weeks now, or at least a week and a half. Dex, how long has he been on that stage?
Well, we know for a fact that it was during the thing he received in his arm, that boost, right? That was the first one that they proved with photographs that was a stage, right?
And the reason why is because it had the wrong season in the Rose Garden and everything else, and it showed the press corps there. So people were like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, and I thought it was photos showing the stage. Yeah, they actually released photos later showing the stage.
I thought that was somebody's clever Twitter like Photoshop where they took an actual picture of the Oval Office and then cut it and then put the other half of the press corps, right? That was real. Do you remember when T-Man was possibly on a boat? And I believe he was because we tried to figure out, even Ben from Edge of Wonder, he tried to figure out too. There was no way with a combination of gimbal, with tripod, hand gimbal, handheld, with him locked, and common sense, you wouldn't film the Prez handheld with a DSLR. Even if you had a shoulder mounted, you wouldn't do that kind of static shot, 22-minute speech or whatever it was. You wouldn't do that with a handheld. And even if you did, it would move, not him. The whole thing was moving. At that point, it was weird because we called it out and a lot of people talked about it and said, is he on a boat or is he in a submarine or is he somewhere off, being protected? Because there was a lot of stuff going on back then. Then there was a lot of doubt and people were like, is he at David or whatever? And then magically the next day he popped up at the place and he did a drive-by, covered up, didn't open his window, did a wave, covered up like this, didn't even roll down his window, did a drive-by for his people. But was that really him? It was so weird, and it was and they didn't tell the press. Do you remember that? He didn't tell the press that he was going to do it, and they just drove right by because they were questioning if he was even there, and that was all sorts of drama. I think maybe something is going on right now, but they say every 150 years for a solar storm, we're at almost 160. We know for a fact they've publicly said that they were outfitting a certain device in a ton of different buildings. So what are they getting ready for? Are they saying, hey, we're gonna make it a requirement for every person to have this in their home? No.
My name is Tom Homan. I'm the former ICE director under President Donald Trump, and I'm here to ask America to wake up. You can protect yourself, and at the same time protect this great nation. The threat of electromagnetic pulse is real, EMP. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's a matter of life and death. I recently partnered with a Midwest company, veteran-owned, that has developed a device you can hook up to your home or your vehicle to protect you against an EMP. I highly encourage you to go to EMPshield.com and research this device. Again, it will protect you, in the long term, protect this great nation. Thank you.
That's Tom Homan, former ICE director. So, again, I hope that you guys end up protecting yourself. We've shown you why. This is something that the government is doing. They had contracts with DHS, Department of Homeland Security, DOD, and, of course, the DEMSO team helping protect the separate Texas grid. So, basically, the whole United States, including the very separated Texas grid, is using them. Why aren't residents? So, when this does happen, when, not the if happens, who's not going to be protected? Well, residents. And then it will go into full scale, like a Marshall situation if this does happen and people aren't protected. But guess what? If everyone had this kind of protection, this would not be a threat to the United States, period. The more people that have this, the better. I don't know why it's not required. This should be something if you buy a house and it's code, it's not up to code. This should be part of code. You should have protection like this. But this is a newer thing. This is a surge protector on steroids. This is military tested and used. 100% American made. It's a veteran-owned business. This is something that didn't exist 10 years ago. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP to protect yourself. In the end, I believe this will save lives. If not, it will save devices and motors and cars and, of course, everything and anything. They make a different device for everything, and it protects against all three phases of an EMP. And, in fact, it will protect against multiple waves. They tested it up to like 42 or 43 waves because they will come in pulses. The car version can be put in about 10 minutes or less. Again, very simple to do for the car version. And again, they make a house version, a RV version, a motorcycle version, a ham radio version, a solar system version. They pretty much make a device for anything that you want to keep running after an EMP, a lightning strike, or a CME. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. When we send you over there, you will get $50 off per device. Plus, they will give us a commission for sending you their way. That way, we can support our independent media here, and you get a discount. Everybody wins. Thank you for everybody that has supported the Foogle fam. We've had so many uphill battles. We are not supported by a multi-billion-dollar company. We don't have a multi-channel network. We have you guys as our backbone. Thank you guys for supporting, and in the same right, I do believe we're doing something right by letting people know about this. This is serious, and I think that one day people will see what we mean. Dex, do you want to talk about the Ebola case?
Yeah, absolutely, Adam. So the matter of fact, the first part of this article cut off for what you're showing on screen. So let me fill people in on that. So basically, they're worried about a potential outbreak. Actually, one child has perished due to this, and potentially two more, and a father did as well, because they perished with symptoms, but nobody bothered to test them to find out if they did. And they're not sure if this has been going on for over a month, being undetected. The crazy part of the story is that this child who unfortunately perished they're saying he could have got it from the neighbors, and in a town that was a heavy commercial town near the border of Uganda. So, if you think about that, it's not just like an isolated, village somewhere. This is, a populated area where people are coming and going, and transportation and shipping and other, things are coming and going when it's a big commercial hub like that. So kind of a big thing. A lot of the high folks in those organizations that we don't necessarily name are scrambling right now to figure out what is happening and did this get out.
And it's just funny that one of the two places that has Ebola, actually 4 of the most deadliest things, anthrax, whatever else, one of the 2 places in the world, one is Georgia, where you are at the cat, and then the other is that Russian lab. That Russian lab ended up having a mystery explosion. And that was just about 3 weeks after the U.S. bought or put millions and millions and millions of dollars into a right, for something that was eradicated in 1981. If you don't know what I'm talking about, somebody in chat will explain it to you. And then we have backup with the documentation of that on our website. Go to marfooglenews.com, search what that V was for, and you'll see that we have a whole episode about that. Or look up Timothy Cunningham in the search bar on our website. You'll see that whole kind of mystery stuff there. We even, on that same episode, we talked, and this was 4 months before all of this started in late 2018, and it was before all of this started, and we talked about how it was weird that he went missing, and he specifically had a very specific job. Don't know if you guys remember that. His disappearance was very strange. He went... He left everything at home, his wallet, his keys, his shoes, but he went for a jog and jumped off of a thing because he was depressed because he was possibly swung the other way, even though everybody else said that he was completely happy. And his neighbor said, quote, "Yeah, a couple days before he went missing, my husband said he frantically came over and said, 'Does your wife have my number in her phone? Tell her to delete it, please.'" That's like saying, and she ended up blabbing this to the local news, which I'm sure was not something that they wanted said, right? They didn't expect the news to go to every neighbor, and just so happens that he went to the neighbor that he was friends with and said, "Please delete my number, don't have it on your phone. You don't want anyone to know that you knew me, talked to me, or whatever, because you might end up in a river." He didn't say that last part, but we all know. Diane Moses, thank you so much for your support. LG Gig, thank you so much for your support. Hey, thank you guys for supporting Independent. EOD Vet, thank you for your service again. Thank you. These are, as far as determining this whole Ebola situation, we've talked about Ebola again. We've had even Foogle fan members and creators down there like Ebola outbreak map.com. A lot of people have been following this for years. This one's kind of freaky because it could potentially spread. This would be a real thing. And man, that would be the worst way to go. They say that Ebola is one of the worst ways to go. California to ban gas lawnmowers and leaf blowers. And I will actually pause this right here just in case anybody wants to take a screenshot, print it out for their dartboard. And then, of course, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill on Saturday that moves a ban to gas-powered lawn equipment in the state, including lawnmowers and leaf blowers, in an effort to limit air pollution. It says the bill directs state regulators to stop selling gas-powered equipment that has small off-road engines by January 1st, 2024. Why does that dang year pop up so flippin' much? It says once the California Air Resource Board says such law is feasible, whichever date comes later. The law also calls for new portable gas-powered generators to be zero emission by 2028, which I bet you is, I wonder if that's like near impossible. Even if it's not, probably make them a lot more expensive and unattainable. Dex, what do you think? Zero emission generators are possible, right?
I guess it's probably going to have a lot of expense on the managing the output of those pieces of equipment. But what's interesting is, like this, there's a major company called Still, which makes the commercial type equipment that most commercial lawn care companies are using, as when it comes to the portable stuff like blowers and edgers and stuff like that, right? And it's interesting because I went to buy one not too long ago, and they have like this whole electric line now. And I was talking to the guy about the electric line, and he said, yeah, it's kind of new and it's interesting, but it's still developing in a sense that it doesn't seem, and I'm sure Still will tell you it's perfectly fine for mainstream and ready to roll. But the end users who have to use this stuff are like, yeah, it's not totally there yet, right? So this is kind of a big deal, not just for the home user who's got to go out and cut their own grass, but imagine all the people that are in business in that state that do lawn care work, having to move away from a gas powered engine, to do trimming and edging and blowing and all that. That's kind of a big deal. It's a very big deal. I think they even have on these electric systems, they have to wear a backpack with batteries in it just to control these, commercial type, units. So it's not that simple.
No, it wouldn't be. And the whole thing sounds way more expensive, and it's going to make these less attainable to the normal person. So when they do shut the lights off, more people won't have it. I just wanted to say hi to some of the people over here. By the way, thank you for the really loyal people over on DLive that show up every night. Bear Claws, Patty Morton, what's going on? Roaming Wolf, Blowtorch Barbie, Captain Pat, thank you for being here. And Code King, thank you for gifting out subs over on the channel, gifting out the Marfia badge, which is really awesome. Cut the Bowl says, I haven't had McDonald's food in years. I can't remember the last time I had food there when I was a kid. And then let's see here. So I didn't want to miss that person. Jammer one says, yeah, big money to make zero emissions unless they're solar. Tree Hooker says, electric. Yes. I always miss those subscriptions giveaways, no matter how quick I hit claim, says JDubs1. Well, maybe hopefully somebody will do another one and you can snatch it up. I've been told you have to literally hit it first. I mean, you have to be super quick when there's that many people in the chat. The Badger, thank you. And then I would give you one, but we can't. We're not allowed to. Otherwise, it's giving yourself a whatever. Yeah, there's actually a rule against it. And then Kelly2334 again is number one on tonight's show. Thank you so much. So far, over 1,000 lemons. Thank you so much for your donations there. Vault11 and then Zippy Moons. These are all regular. Thank you, Vault. I really do appreciate that. I hope you're still creating and doing your music. And then Laura Griffith, the Naughty Gypsy, Bugnana, Captain Pat, Luft Waffle, Rain, and Terumpareda Pill. Said that creatively, huh? And then Southwest Airlines denies that pilot is sick out drove weekend of delays. Okay, so this was during the weekend, and I'll just tell you what. Everyone I know, okay, so first of all, I have family in the airline business. One is the head of IT of one of the very, very big ones. And through that, they work with other airlines, and they've done collaborations with other companies. From what I've heard from everybody I've talked to is that it was the air traffic controllers. I'm not going to put out something that they're going to say, oh, that's false, but that was the theory, right? That air traffic controller, the union said no to the thing that's going on. Southwest canceled over 1,800 flights, or at least 1,000 confirmed. A giant number of flights over on Sunday, I believe. And they said in one of the articles, I swear to you, it was like Dallas News said, oh, well, there was bad weather in Florida. So, there was bad weather in Florida. So they had shortages, and it was this and it was that. And it was just basically a whole combination, and they had to cancel all these.
Well, it's still going on today.
So I know, but they were saying like so the bad weather here caused it all over the world.
Well, no. So this is what people are looking at, is they're looking at the percentages of cancellations from other airlines, and they're in the neighborhood of like 2, 3, 4, 5%. And Southwest is in like that 40%, 45% category. It's just dramatically different. Whereas if you had a weather event, you would see it across the board. You would see everybody would have that same kind of problem. So, and other people have reported, I guess, that if they have weather-related issues, they don't have to necessarily give a refund, or there's some financial difference between how a weather-related event is versus their own business canceling flights, right? But nobody really knows exactly what's going on because, of course, Southwest is not going to say it, and a lot of people aren't necessarily reporting it. But there's a whole lot of conversation going on in the social space from people that work there or know people that work there that are saying there's a lot of difference to this story that's not being reported. And
this was trending. There were, I don't know why so many 1,000 people plus would pretend like they work there. And we're not talking about a couple trolls like, oh, I work there, just trying to get attention. We're talking about thousands of people on Twitter saying, I work there. This is not what's happening. This is what's happening. We are not doing this until they block this new rule, right? So I just wonder if it's going to work. I know.
One theory that is out there, and again, this is just a theory, is that because of that date that's coming up, I think it's in November, the beginning of November, that a lot of folks that are potentially affected are using up their vacation time as quickly as possible. So they're all, calling in sick, which is what, they're trying to say right now. Hey, this is not a sick out. At least that's what Southwest is saying publicly. It's not that, but that's what a lot of people are saying behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, I know so many people right now that are just waiting until the very last second, and then they're now a bunch of people in my state. There's a church called Grace Point, which again, if you're in Washington, I would look up Grace Point Church because I would definitely highly recommend. They have basically gathered a bunch of people. And then they've also gathered what it was is a lawyers for them. Basically, everybody pooled together, but also I believe that they were helped out by some very, very fancy schmancy lawyers who helped them work out some situation to have like basically a leg to stand on legally with everything that's going on, as far as their employment goes. So if you're in Washington, or even if you're not, there's a great video that explains it that might even help you in your state. I would highly recommend that. Andy Burnham says, is this a call-in show? Mondays are news only, but Tuesday, tomorrow, will be a call-in show. So if you would like to call in, I would welcome it, and I would actually love it. And then Michelle Leach says, Texas governor just signed an executive order banning the JA passport. So Texas, yeah, and Florida, I believe, did the same. I think they did it first. Both Texas and Florida have kind of led the way for in that right. And then Stormhawk says BIBLE, basic instructions before leaving Earth. Love it, Stormhawk. Thank you, and it's nice to see you here again. And then Diane Moses, again, nice to see you guys here as well. Lots of really great people that are still here. So do you think it's, what do you think this is? Do you think just weather got really bad? You know, just really bad weather. Quinkadinky. This is what I'm talking about, though. They say it's bad weather, even though people are shouting from the rooftop it's something else. But, I mean, I guess the best thing is to supposedly just deny it, right? A couple months later, we realize, or maybe then we won't. I don't know. 2 homes destroyed in Santee plane crash. It says out of Santee, California, a plane crashed in a Santee neighborhood Monday afternoon, destroying 2 homes and damaging a third, while the extent of injuries remained unclear. The Santee Fire Department said its crew took 2 people from the scene after the plane went down the 9900 block of North Magnolia Avenue. The first reports of the crash came in about 12:15 p.m., and officials were diverting traffic near Mast and Magnolia. So this is straight out of like Donnie Darko. Isn't it Donnie Darko where the plane engine falls on the house? I think that's Donnie Darko. Could you imagine that, having a plane land on your home? But not only 1 home, 2 homes. So potentially, I don't believe, was it the homeowner that ended up passing in this? Dex, do you know if it was the homeowner that perished or the pilots?
Yeah, I don't think we know yet. I would assume the folks on board probably suffered the most, but it certainly could be.
It doesn't even say anybody died.
It doesn't say yet. I don't think they've released it at the time that this article was written. It may have been updated. But the other interesting thing is that I think there was another plane crash in the same place in 2015. They say it was 4 miles southwest of that location. Okay,
that's some Donnie Darko stuff right there. That's too much. Is this like the Santee Triangle or something? That is freaky. Before we talk about New Hampshire and the mystery boom, which is complete BS, this is going to continue to happen. Something shook New Hampshire. What caused the boom is a mystery. Now, this was felt in 40 cities. 40 different cities felt this. We'll talk about that here in just 2 seconds. Just want to remind you, right now there's nothing I need to say to you guys. If you want to grab, say, generators or survival gear, cooking gear, tools, power, battery banks, even iodine pills, you can get them all at one stop. Go to marfooglenews.com/prep. This is powered by My Patriot Supply. You will get a discount. Right now, there's $100 off on 3 months of food. I'll be real with you guys. So demand is so high on food, on everything else. It's going to be an issue in the future, especially in the next couple months during winter, is going to be the demand. And I'm surprised they are still doing the $100. Just about 3 weeks ago, they said that they were definitely cutting some of that out. We were at $200 for 3 months and $50 for 1 month. Now they're only doing $100 for the 3 month supply. The reason why is there's so much demand they can't keep up. This is a case where they are backlogged so much, and to get it out in a reasonable time, they're basically cutting. They're really trying to slow down orders. There are companies like their competitors that are basically out like at all. They're not big enough to handle the amount. My Patriot Supply luckily is big enough to handle a ton. They have great food. I tasted all of them before we did this. I think that people need to be stocking up. I wouldn't be making a big advertisement about it since your neighbors or your cousins might be snitching you to Facebook. But again, this is something that's smart. It's responsible as an adult. If you're the patriarch or the matriarch of your family, you should have food, water, supplies, everything else. The Department of Homeland Security even told you in so many words that we are every American and every United States citizen should have 6 months to a year worth of food in the possibility of an EMP or a massive blackout. So they're telling us there's a lot of signs there. But again, do it for yourself. If you can't afford something like this to go get actual prep food and storables, make sure to do it a little bit at a time. $5 a week. Watch people like Alaska Preppers. Alaska Prepper, Survival Living, great, survival channels that teach you how to live on a dime or to do it cheaply to survive. One thing people don't think about is survival books. You're not going to have Google after everything hits the fan. So I hope that people know, look at what's happened in the last 2 years. Before CV, we said essentially the same thing, and people looked at us like we were crazy. Now, not so many people are thinking you're crazy, do they? 4 months before the big event, we told you that there was a 3-letter agency that started with the W and ended with a ho. We told you that they were already mapping out what the next Pete would do. We even showed you that they were practicing for it. And we said, watch out, heads up. We even, on one episode, told you to stock up on masks because we said that they would not be available when it all happened. And people gave us so much crap, we took the link off after one day. I hope people pay attention. Water filtration, air purification, marfooglenews.com/prep. You can get pretty much everything there. One-stop shop, good food. Make sure to use this link, and then what happens is you end up helping our channel too and get a discount. So the mystery boom, Dex, I know I saw this a little bit before you, but we have talked about it. Of course, many creators on YouTube have talked about this, but nobody actually knows the answer. And there's websites completely devoted to mapping these out. But apparently this one was different. There was many people that actually experienced multiple of these booms in their lifetime. They were part of a couple historic ones, and they had proof that, they lived in St. Louis when they had their big boom, and then they had proof that they lived here. And this one, they said, was unbelievable. It shook their entire house. But get this, it was felt and heard 40 cities. Dex, how big was the earthquake from this? How big was the seismic activity?
Well, I don't know, but this is pretty significant in the sense that so many people heard it.
No earthquake, no seismic activity. So how do houses shake? What do you think, Dex?
Well, we had that one shake here when we had that boom that they in turn said was that spacecraft coming back in a while back, and it was heard in Georgia and Florida. And there was, everybody saw it. You could see, I didn't see it, but I heard it. People could see it and they could verify it, right? And everybody knew, okay, it was this massive sonic boom that was heard, all over the place. But in this case, everyone is trying to figure out what it is, and nobody can find anything. There's nothing visual. Nobody saw lights in the sky. Nobody saw any of that, on Ring cameras and things like that. They can hear the boom, but they can't see anything.
So Dex, the one that was in Georgia, you said it did shake your house a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah, it did. It felt like a wave coming through the house.
Okay, so that ended up being something coming back into space. They said it was SpaceX. But then this happens, right? Same thing, felt in 40 states. There's no visible flash, which even during the day, they have ring camera of meteors coming in. But who knows? So just say that this is a meteor. It causes a sonic boom when it comes in. 40 cities feel this thing come in so fast that it shakes everybody's house. This kind of thing it does not get listed as a meteor. So these do not add to the numbers. Do you notice how that works out? We know that the sightings of meteors have quadrupled, and this is what I was talking about. There's more and more and more and more. Meanwhile, there's chatter all over the place saying that we are possibly heading into a meteor, this huge group of meteors, and that this is really bad. And who knows? Maybe that's why all of a sudden we needed a space force. We needed to get to Mars immediately. We needed to send cars out there. Oh, and now we have this huge space race when nobody cared about that before. Maybe that's why all of these countries are trying to get to the moon, why China's going to the far side of the moon, why Russia's talking about putting a laser on the moon to shoot out space junk, why they're doing missions like, of course, they just did one. We're talking about OSIRIS-REx. You're talking about Hayabusa. All of these different missions to deal with asteroids. We had this weird one that popped up for a minute. We had Apophis, right? But there was another one that said that it was getting brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter by the day, and they couldn't believe it. And they said in a couple more weeks, it's going to be as bright as the moon. And then overnight, they said, oh, it magically broke apart. So this thing that's been out there for billions of years, and humans watch it for 2 weeks, and in that 2-week period from a Tuesday to a Wednesday, it just broke apart. You're telling me it was getting brighter and brighter by just huge, massive amounts, and then all of a sudden it broke apart? Then Dex, actually, we went through the dates of all of the secretive launches from SpaceX. The ones that have secret payloads that the government does not list. It says blank because it is a government payload, so that it's top secret. And then did the math on how fast they say these things go, or the jet goes, or the spacecraft. And when you do that, you line it up. Dex, do you remember that? You lined up with how that asteroid split up, or whatever. It broke apart.
Yeah, Comet.
And what happened? You did how fast it would take and how long it would take, and then you rewound that amount of time. And then what did you find?
Oh yeah, there were numerous launches within a 3-month time period where there were top secret launches that all went up that could have been, the right amount of time that it would have taken to have intercepted that location.
And it just so happens that the main and then right around the same time they said, oh, we realized that we can't fully stop a asteroid. We can't actually stop it.
Yeah, but that comet mysteriously at that time decided to break apart, no longer be visible, and everybody's expecting it to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
And not only that, it was supposedly billions or trillions of years old. We're watching on a Tuesday, tripling and getting so bright that they say in a week it's going to be as bright as the moon, and it's coming right near us, and then all of a sudden it's gone. What are the odds of that? That is just weird. Did you hear this boom? Do you have footage of this? Those are my first 2 questions. Go to marfooglenews.com and go to play my video. So when you go to the website, up at the very, very, very top, over on the right side, there's play my video. Once you click on that, it will give you the opportunity to, of course, upload your video, put the link here, and then you can list on what it is. A UFO sighting, strange skies, whatever it is, put it there. Brief description. Let's see here. I saw Bigfoot, and he was Asian. There we go. Okay? Now we figured it out. Together. What do you think? Put it in the comments down below. Let's go over to the chat. What do you guys, did any of you hear this? I want to go to both chats here. Lilita, we've got Mr. Green Jeans. The moon isn't made of green cheese. It's made out of lies. I believe that. I believe that that truth lie, or truth that is lie. Scooby-Doo, right? Let's see. Isn't Earth entering into an asteroid belt? That's what people say. One on B says, Adam, Dex, Jay, and Mods, thank you for all you do for us. Occam's Razor, what's going on? Moon is self-illuminating, says Jamie Miller. Raymond B says, I didn't hear anything, but again, I'm in Texas. Keep your blood clean with no vaccine. That was a good way to put that. Thank you for watching how you say it. Everything they tell us is lies, says Bugnana. Nephilim Hunter says, didn't hear it in West Virginia. People did. People heard it very far away. 1 for 2 magnets from a guy at store free other day. So odd. Let's see here. Some classic material in here. Wow, gold comedy. Yeah. The JAB gives you male extra inches. I don't think so. But, well, I guess it depends. You might want to check if you're at a doctor's office.
And Adam, I have a new report that had just come out in Georgia about something last night about a fireball. And it's in Screener if you want to pull it up.
This is what I'm talking about. Okay, so look at this. Fireball in Georgia.
No, I did not see this.
We are covering this like every single day now. So that was that. Mystery boom felt in 40 different states. I'm sorry, cities. See it, massive fireball, bright as the full moon, blazes across night sky in Georgia, NASA says. It's all a coincidence. NASA confirms a meteor was spotted over southeast Georgia last night. Says it burned up in the southeast corner of Toombs County. Many eyewitnesses in the southeastern United States are filing reports of a bright fireball seen at 10:04 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. NASA wrote on Facebook the event was also detected at extreme range by NASA meteor cameras in North Georgia, North Carolina, and Florida. An analysis of the video shows that the fireball first appeared 52 miles above the town of Donald in southwest Georgia, moving northwest at 45,000 miles per hour. That's a fast one. It said it burned up about 23 miles above Sanders Road, near Providence Missionary Baptist Church. So if you're by that church, go look at yourself for $1 million rock there. It says the meteor's brightness rivaled that of the full moon, which indicates it was caused by an asteroid fragment about 8 inches in diameter with a weight of 20 pounds. As bright as the full moon. If something bigger than that happened during the day, big boom, 40 cities feel it or something. What is going on? Seems to me like it's getting worse. Andy Burnham says, look up the movie The Day After Tomorrow. The Earth restores herself when she has to. I have watched that movie. I love all those kind of movies, but especially that one. They say that it cleanses itself. It freezes or something, and then it starts over. Unfortunately, though, not too many of us live through it. I'm glad you got affiliated with prepping supplier Adam. People listen, and you can reach, prepare, and save thousands. Much love and respect. Survival living. Again, I hope that you're doing the same. We need to get everybody as fast as possible. But thank you again for supporting us. You have not. You've been there. I've been there since you were since you started your channel. So super happy to see you almost near 25,000 subscribers. That is awesome job. You put every ounce of work into it. We gave you a couple hundred in the beginning, but you did all those, over 20,000 people. HD Rider, let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. What a crazy, crazy thing. As drought worsens, California farmers are being paid not to grow crops. That's right, not. Dex, do you want to explain this for a second? I have to check the cord back here.
Yeah, so this is kind of crazy. We talked about this scenario, and it had been reported unofficially for many months now about this type of thing happening other places. And now here we have a mainstream, article talking specifically about this exact action where farmers are being paid not to produce, right? Don't produce anything and get paid for it. So this is happening. They're blaming this particular one due to the water issues in California and a lot of the drought issues that are happening that are causing them not to be able to grow crops and basically being told, hey, don't grow, but we'll give you subsidies, we'll pay for it. But ultimately what we have to think about is what does this mean to the long-term effect? Because, when crops are grown right now, they don't show up necessarily in our store tomorrow. They, a lot of that gets stored up over time. Obviously fresh fruits and vegetables do, but some of this stuff does get stored. And, there's a longer term effect when you have these, diminished crops or no crops grown at all. We might not actually feel this for a few months, or we might not even notice it until next year. But all of these signs that keep happening, there is going to come a day where we're going to feel that. And we're already feeling it today when it comes to prices in the grocery store. I don't know, if you've seen it, but I know I see it. Grocery prices have gone up on everything from meat to cereal to anything, right? And if it's the prices aren't going up, maybe the quantities are going down and you just don't realize it, that shrinkflation that they're doing. So all of this should be alarming. We should be paying attention. We should let this sort of remind us that we do need to be better prepared when it comes to being able to, supply our own families and ourselves with food should the day come when we can't necessarily get it as easily or as cheaply as we used to.
That's absolutely right. And that's why we're growing gardens. If you don't have a place to grow a garden, I would highly consider finding a place or maybe a family member where you can grow one. When we were in the apartment,
look at hydroponics, right?
Or hydroponics in your house. Now they have LED lights and stuff that take less electricity. You can grow year round. But one thing to say though too, we had a family member that had property and they would let us do it. So if we didn't end up getting our greenhouse and we have a yard, we would have gone over there because that was the option when we were living in an apartment. If you don't have a yard, which we were, you have to do it either inside your house or it's not a pea patch doesn't really work. You have to know somebody with land that you'll have access to when SHTF happens. If SHTF happens and you're part of a pea patch or whatever, or a public patch of land, people are going to come and snatch that. There's no protection there. There's something to be said. There might not be as much protection at a family piece of land unless it's isolated or separate. But if it's in the city or something like that, then, good luck. This is freaky because I've said this for a long time. People underestimate China. They say that it's cheap and chaos, that the whole country is just the knockoff USA, right? Well, guess what? They've taken some of the smartest people in the world. By the way, the Chinese people are some of the smartest people in the world by stats. In fact, them in education, I believe there's a lot of stats that they're actually beating many countries in. Now that may be because of their culture and how maybe it's a little forced, but I don't think too many people doubt that the Chinese people are smart. Even when they're making crappy stuff, because they're smart about business and smart about profit. They're making the cheapest possible thing for the most expensive price. My whole thing is to never underestimate your enemy. This is, this is something that I grew up and it's something that I believed when I was a kid. It was basically, I heard my grandpa shouting like, "Oh, it's made in China. It's not worth nothing." And to be honest, there's the difference. When you would buy a toaster that was made in China, it lasts 3-4 months, right? Or it would last a couple of years. A toaster that used to be made in the USA, I know a friend who is 72 years old. His toaster from the 60s, he still uses. That was the way they made it. But then the companies realized that, well, if they make it that well, then they'll never buy one again. And yeah, that's cool. If you charge enough, then maybe, they won't come back in 10 years. But like they were actually making toasters and things like this so good that they would last 50, 60, 70 years. That wasn't good for business because guess what? If your toaster works for 70 years, you're never going to replace it. How many people in chat, had something from 40, 50 years ago that works just fine still today? But if you buy that same item today, it won't work for jack. Everything used to be made better. Stereos, everything, just anything and everything that used to be quality. Nothing is quality anymore. And a lot of it's made in China. But as far as their weapons go, they're using real metal. They're using real, they're using basically every single piece of material that we are. They're using our blue book. They're using our blueprints. And they're using our designers. This whole guy that was leaking information in the beginning of the show, this is just proof. It says that China has won an AI battle with U.S. Pentagon's ex-software chief says. And what's crazy is this is probably the 8th or 9th official that we've seen say that China's beating us in just this year. Our own government thinks that they're beating us in all these different departments. That's really sad. Really, really sad. China has won the artificial intelligence battle with the United States and is heading towards global dominance. Those are strong words because of its technological advances. The Pentagon's former software chief told the Financial Times. Here's the thing: if people keep thinking, they're crap, then people aren't paying attention to what's actually happening. So it's very clear that some of the most respected people on the planet are saying, "Hey, they're not making crap anymore." That's when you need to start paying attention and go, okay, if they're not making crap, then we need to step up our game. Because China cannot be dominant. China is a communist nation, and they will take over, and they will not make your life a living happiness. Dex, as far as you want to talk about what they did and why he's saying this?
Well, no, he's pulling out specifically the three key areas of emerging technologies that China is actually, even though they're the second largest economy, that they actually are going to be dominating these, especially within a decade or so, and we probably lost. And that is artificial intelligence, synthetic biology, and genetics.
And guess who's possibly announcing a new crypto gold-backed currency? You're talking about something that would compete with the dollar, which the dollar's done. The dollar is the petrodollar. Well, guess what? How many signs are pointing that the petrol won't be the powering force anymore? Think about it. Why is BlackRock, the $1 trillion managing company, telling everybody to invest in China? Maybe they're saying that because they go, hey, these are going to be our daddies. This is going to be our daddy soon. Maybe that's why maybe Blackwater's helping their elites transition over to get a spot at the table. Because if you have a spot at the table, you'll be treated nice. But as long as you don't step out of line. Just to read that one part, China is the world's second largest economy, which they say won't be for long either. is likely to dominate many of the key emerging technologies, particularly artificial intelligence, synthetic biology. Just that one part to break it apart. Synthetic biology. Artificial life, essentially, or artificial and the blending of synthetic and biological and genetics within a decade or so. And guess what? They don't have any of the little tape that we have. They're testing on people. They are taking people's organs out, testing on them, doing whatever the heck they want. There's no political stoppage. Think about that. You heard all these stories of the German army and Mr. Adolf there doing all of these human experiments, because guess what? Nobody was stopping them. Do you think China's not doing that? And by the way, when I mean China, I mean the government, not the people. The people are, people are the same all over the world. It doesn't matter who your government is. We're all people. We're all humans. It's not them to be blamed. Chinese testing experimental armed drone ships at secret naval base. Dex, do you remember when I got this information from somebody like a year and a half ago?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, and nobody believed me. In front of scenic cliffs and an ornamental European-style windmill is a secret People's Liberation Army Navy pier. It says here at a former tourist resort on China's northern coast is where the PLAN is developing some of its most secretive and previously unreported naval programs. USNI News has learned. The pier near Dalian is where China is testing its large uncrewed surface vessels, or USVs, according to satellite photos provided to USNI News by Maxar and an analysis of open source intelligence. It says construction of the new pier started in early 2016 and took about a year. According to satellite photos, since then it has been used intermittently by PLAN. When in use, 2 large work barges are moored alongside to provide basic facilities for crews and support staff. The facility itself has only the most basic semblance of a military base. Taken together, this suggests that it is an auxiliary facility used to support short-term trials and exercises. Submarines have also been observed at the pier. On one occasion, the Type 35 Ming-class boat was seen performing a pier-side ballast test, according to photos provided by USNI News by Maxar. The facility may be used as an overspill for the nearby Xiaopingdao Naval Base. The new base's status as an auxiliary site brings benefits as an uncrewed surface vessel, or USV, testbed, like further from main naval bases, giving the unmanned more space to operate safely. Unmanned. So they have whole unmanned armies. Listen to that. Experimental armed drone ships. Imagine being on the West Coast and seeing a bunch of drone ships driving up the beach, or a bunch launching stuff from out there. And say our defenses take out a bunch of them. Or say there's no human signatures for the planes or whatever else to see. What if these are submersibles that then go up? So these go underwater the whole time. So say they pull out 200 miles up. They now have the battery technology to make these submersibles virtually use no power, be loaded with a launchable missile, go from 200 miles out, undetected, go right up to our coastline, and launch. I don't know how many beaches you've seen, anti-air or the Iron Dome system there. But that's right. Iron Dome just got moved to Guam. Why do you think that is? People laugh it off. Just watch. China says it's carried out beach landing drills in the province opposite Taiwan. China's military said on Monday it had carried out beach landing and assault drills in the province directly across the sea from Taiwan. Oh, by the way, Dex, I don't. Did you get pictures of those last ones? I didn't think there was, right?
No, I don't.
That's okay. It's a boat without a person, or it's got Hulk Hogan secretly inside, but who knows? China's military said on Monday it had carried out beach landing assault drills on the province directly across the sea from Taiwan, though it did not link the exercises to current tensions with Taipei. Democratically ruled Taiwan, claimed by China as its own territory, has complained of stepped-up military and political pressure. The official's PLA daily newspaper, in a brief report on its Weibo microblogging account, said that the drills had been carried out in recent days in the southern part of the Fujian province. It says the troops were divided into multiple waves to grab the beach and perform combat tasks at different stages, it added without providing further details. It showed videos of soldiers in small boats storming a beach, throwing smoke grenades, breaking through barbed wire defenses, and digging trenches in the sand. The drills appeared to involve a small number of troops. The weather was clear and the seas were calm, suggesting that the drill did not happen on Monday, as southern Fujian is currently being affected by a tropical storm. So I bet most people are thinking, oh, whew, that's them, practicing to invade Taiwan. Or are they practicing for here? People are going to deny it up until the last minute. Watch. The people that you've been telling about all this, that you've been telling about all of the stuff, that nothing's coming from China, the people that you've told in your real life, hey, that China is an actual thing here now, they're not going to see it until the last second. And then what they do is they cut down all the trees, and then they leave that last roadside line of trees so nobody complains. And last minute, they're going to cut those trees down, and you're going to see your whole neighborhood's changed now. They cut down all the forest you used to love and to look at. Same with this. Last minute, they're going to cut down the trees, and you're going to see all of this exposed for what it is. We're going to conflict with China very, very soon. And then Taiwan wants status quo, not China's path, president says. Dex, what do you think about this?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't expect them to just say we want to welcome China with open arms, right? They like their democracy, they want to keep it. They work well with everyone else in the globe, so it only makes sense. And I know there's this ongoing consternation with China, and we expect, and we've been told from China that within so many years they're going to take it. And we actually think it's going to be sooner. Their actions show that it's going to be sooner. They've been flying planes over there. They keep encroaching further and further. And we just now reported now they're testing beach landings or drilling for beach landings, which is exactly what they'll do when they go take Taiwan, right?
Yes, and this is something that now Taiwan is drilling on their side. They're drilling on their side. They've made a full-scale replica of basically the main political area in Taipei, and they're drilling to take it over. So every asset of a takeover, including the beach landing, they're practicing. They're not doing this they're not NK. They're not doing this for, pound their chest. They're China. They can take Taipei. They can take Taiwan. But can they take the US, UK, Australia? That's what the big question here is. If it's true that they're about to go broke or that they're about to lose all their money, then what a way to gain some money than to take over the whole world. Split it with Russia. Special thanks to two old people on a couch. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are awesome. I hope you're wherever you are tonight, doing well. Survival Living, Andy Burnham, Michelle Leach. I think I missed you. Texas governor just signed executive. Okay, I did get that one. Stormhawk, Diane Moses, LG Gig, EOD Vet, Bones, Delaware Sasquatch, Seraphina, Brandon Scott. Again, thank you. And Carrie Remnell. And then I believe I missed Craig Alicious last show. The other night I saw two meteors, one after the other, make an X in the sky, followed by two star-sized flashes nearby. A sign? Coincidence? By the way, that was on October 8th. That was 3 days ago. Craig Alicious said, the other night I saw two meteors, one after the other, make an X. Isn't that funny? This is before, and I was just saying, there's so many sightings. It's crazy. We weren't even talking about meteors that night. Mad, Mutually Assured Destruction, that Gen X. Thank you so much again for popping in. And then, by the way, I just want a big shout out. Thank you, and thank you again. Code King, you are the man. Thank you so much. That is hilarious. I love how you have Brendan Fraser as your profile pic. And holy flippin' moly, Cynthia Lynn just did a ninjet. Dex, can you read that ninjet?
It's musical notes followed by "Let's Go, Brandon."
Let's go, Brandon. That's so classic. People are gonna know that 50 years from now. The younger generation won't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm going to be 80 in a senior home, and I'm just going to look over across the table at all the 80-year-olds, and I'm going to go, let's go, Brandon. We're all going to start cracking up laughing. And then we're going to forget what we were doing. That is awesome. Cynthia Lynn, thank you, and thank you. You are definitely going to be the top, but Code King, thank you so much for your support. Thank you from a creator to another creator. Thank you for supporting. I hope, I'll be honest, I have not checked out your channel yet, so I'll go over and check it out. You are verified, so obviously you're putting work into DLive. I will most likely try to go right over after the show. Kelly2334, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Vault11, thank you. Chance Paladin, thank you for shouting out the people that do end up supporting us. I appreciate your modding. The Pillar's Wife, thanks for following. The Recalcitrant, thank you for being here every night. Oh Firefighter, WJS Jen, thank you. Says Coffee, Blowtorch Barbie, Deep State of Mind. You guys are so flippin' awesome. Vango54 here almost every night. Pam Beth is here almost every night. I know that you guys are not. You are more here for everybody else than me, and I actually that's why we always give you time before every show, is so you guys can get to know each other. That you come here and meet your friends. I really love you guys. I do. There are people that I talk to on a daily basis when I can. And I wish I had more time for all of you. I've got 4 kids, and it's really hard, but we need to have an in-person meeting here in Washington. I really wish we could have, like, everybody in the whole country meet up. It would be flippin' sweet. What do you think about, what is the time frame? Let's take a vote. Less than 1 year. Type 1 in the chat. We're going to go to all chats, and I'm going to turn it onto the screen. Let's turn. I'll turn that on. Okay, so here are the options. There's 3 options. In less than a year, China's going to take Taiwan is number 1. More than a year, less than 3 years is number 2, and option 3 is more than 3 years out. There really is no option where they don't take it, I guess. I guess that can be 4. 1 being, by the way, 1 being within 1 year. By the way, I saw a lot of 1s. That's scary that everybody thinks that so quickly. That's a lot of ones, yeah. I feel like it could be any time. It's crazy to think that all of us think that too. I'm a one person. I think that it could happen any time. Is that guaranteed? I sure as heck hope not. 3 weeks? Somebody said, can somebody explain Let's Go Brandon? Somebody, can one of the mods give them a link? And by the way, I'm not trying to go either way on that, but it is pretty funny. The reporter said, yeah, it sounds like they're saying, let's go Brandon. Dex, did you crack up the first time you saw that clip?
Oh yeah, of course. It was so obvious that that's not what was being said.
Even if you like him, you have to get a good laugh out of that. Like, that's funny. Oh, and I found out they're canceling Dave Chappelle for being Dave Chappelle. They're not actually canceling. They're trying to cancel him because he did some stuff about it's there was a white gentleman who transitioned to a white female, and she is the producer of Dear White People, about Dear White People is basically what white people do from a black perspective, wrote and done by a white male turned white female. Very confusing, but the very popular show or something, and she said that she was really pissed off and said that he offended her with his trans-related jokes. I haven't seen the special yet, but I'm going to watch it. I was going to watch it anyways because Dave Chappelle. But then a lot of people are saying that they did not wait until the end of the show where he comes full circle and he does kind of he fixes it. Basically, he gets real and he says this was all for jokes, but in this real case, this is what happened and it was very sad and this and that. A lot of people even said they cried. So I want to watch it. I want to see what happened there. And then we have the most monstrous comet ever known is heading straight for us. Funny, that reminds me of something like Elon would post, right? A meme like that. 7 years ago, a pair of scientists scouring high-resolution images of space caught fleeting glimpses of a bright, round object peeking from a vast cloud of icy objects more than 2 billion miles from Earth. As if the whole scene wasn't exciting enough, the object appeared to be a huge comet. Thought to be between 60 and 100 miles wide, it was the biggest comet a human being had ever witnessed, and it seemed to be heading toward us, very loosely speaking, that is. Last month, the discoverers of a giant object, University of Pennsylvania astronomers Gary Bernstein and Pedro Bertinelli, combined their earlier data with a fresh sighting of the distant object this summer and confirmed their suspicions. It's a mega comet. It says the nearly spherical cow of comets, they quipped in the title of their paper, which they submitted for publication in the Astrophysical Journal Letters September 23rd. The pair have also learned that the comet's trajectory has it swinging between Uranus and Saturn in 2031. Dex 100 miles wide. So put that into perspective. All of Seattle is like 10 miles wide or something, just the downtown area. In fact, the whole city is like 30 miles or something.
Yeah, that's pretty big. I mean, that's really big for a comet.
Is that bigger than Rhode Island? How big is Rhode Island? I'm almost wondering if that's bigger than U.S. state. I bet it is. That is insane. So if it's swinging between Uranus and Saturn. Could there be a gravitational thing where it swings in? Ilea, don't say anything. Wolverine Snicket, let's go. Buck Fiden. I'm not even about it. I just thought the let's go Brandon thing was there. I mean, yeah, I do have my views, but yeah, it's not even about that for me. It's Brandon all the way. I just want to see him win, you know. I want to see Brandon swing between Saturn and Uranus. Wolverine Snicket, let's go. And then Andrew Golden, thank you. HD Ryder says, let's go. Thank you so much, you guys. Thanks for your support.
Hey, Adam?
Yes.
So Rhode Island, I want to say, I'm looking it up. It's 48 miles by 37 miles. So, yeah.
So this comet is
narrow
bigger.
Points.
This is way bigger. This is twice the size of Rhode Island then. That's incredible. And, okay, so by the way, so with the prior, so if we have this Monstrous thing, we're going to follow the trajectory. With all the meteor stuff happening, you guys know my view on it. You know, Israeli News Live is saying in November something is going to hit off the ocean. We'll follow it. And then they magically pop up with this stuff in last second. Which, by the way, they missed us a couple weeks ago. A huge one passed by and they didn't see it until it was after. EMS services. Okay, this is where people need to wake up. EMS services warn of crippling labor shortage undermining the 911 system. It says the P-induced shortage of emergency medical technicians and paramedics nationwide is so dire that ambulance service providers warn of sharp cuts to services and longer waits for 911 calls, even when it's a matter of life and death. It says companies have had to close, consolidate, or come up with new strategies to answer calls, said American Ambulance President Sean Baird, who added that there is simply not enough EMS personnel to cover calls in many parts of their country, It says especially during the P, right? It says the loss of staff to pan-related burnout and low wages has created a vicious cycle, requiring greater dependence on those workers who have stayed on. This situation has deteriorated to such a degree in recent months that ambulance services and industry leaders are pleading with Congress and state legislatures to help. The magnitude has really blown up over the last few months, Baird said. When you take a system that was already fragile and stretched it because you didn't have enough people entering the field, then you throw a public health emergency and all of the additional burdens that it put on our workforce as well as the labor shortages across the entire economy, and it really has put us in crisis mode. So, okay, so say you do need it, say you're having a heart attack and they don't respond for 45 minutes. I mean, that's unheard of for ambulances, right? For police, that's normal, especially here now. An hour, 2 hours, right? But for EMS, it's like every minute, and they expect them to show up like that. Is it really this, or do you think that, I wonder if they're going to say next, oh, well, we should put National Guard doing EMP work, right? They'll have them all over the city and in fire stations and in checkpoints. Just one thought, but as far as EMS, have you guys noticed it? Are you in the EMS field, and are you truly overrun? What is going on in your field? It seems to me like there's so many setups right here for just a big disaster. Dex, if we did have a big disaster and then on top of the shortage, then we don't have enough people. If we don't have enough people for normal, just regular life, what about if something happens and wipes out half a city? What if the West Coast is knocked out by a tsunami?
Yeah, that's going to be chaos. I mean, that alone would be chaos anyway, but it seems like that this problem is making that notion of what chaos might feel like something that could happen that should have been normal. It was something we could deal with, right? But now all of a sudden we're going to be in a situation where we're going to feel, this very dire effect from not having enough EMS or folks to answer the phones to deal with regular emergency calls.
Yep, especially after, say, if power does go out or something, and on top of that, you have 911 systems down, satellites down, power down, everything down. You could cripple a country real quick. And if people aren't answering the phone, they wouldn't know, hey, there's somebody invading our street. Oh, somebody's coming up on our beach. Oh, well, nobody's there to answer because they're all on some other part of it. The strong 6.1 earthquake, 6.2 earthquake struck off the coast of Hawaii. This is something that is very alarming for anyone who has ever lived off of Hawaii. My sister worked in Hawaii for many, many years, and I guarantee you 100% that this would be scary if you were living on an island. It says Hawaii, 2 strong earthquakes struck off the coast of the Big Island on Hawaii on Sunday, rattling residents and causing items to fall off shelves. It says the U.S. Geological Survey says that the first quake had a magnitude 6.1 and struck about 17 miles south of Nalehu. The agency says the 6.2 magnitude earthquake struck about 20 minutes later in the same area. So, sorry, I was right both times. A 6.1 and a 6.2 back to back. That's incredible. At a gas station in Nalehu, a refrigerator display doors were opened by the shaking and items fell to the ground. No injuries were immediately reported. This is, again, nobody ended up getting hurt by this, but here's the other part. This could have been way worse. And, this is an alert for anybody in the ring of fire. Of course, Hawaii being where it is. If it was bigger than that, or if they found out about a freak subduction zone that we didn't know about from before, like Japan, they didn't even know that was possible. This could have been really bad. Or everyone on Hawaii could have. If this was any bigger than that, that's a huge earthquake. To have 2 in a row could have caused a tsunami if it was any bigger than that. I mean, if it's much bigger than that, I don't see how it wouldn't if it was out in the ocean. Either way, everybody should have extra supplies, extra food, all sorts of stuff stacked up by now, especially if you've been watching us for 3 years. Brian Keith Prepper says those comets are dangerous near Uranus. They are very dangerous. Near Uranus. Magnitude 6.9 earthquake strikes off Alaska. So, Dex, what is the deal with Alaska having so many earthquakes in the last year and a half, 2 years?
What's interesting is they're actually calling this an aftershock from the one in July.
Really? So this is supposedly a 6.9 aftershock. 5 months later, July 7. So we're 3 months later after the 8.2 quake from late July. Wow. Because that was a big one. 8.2 is massive. That's, I think, a 3-minute earthquake or something like that. Once you go up to 9, you get up to a 5-minute earthquake. Long enough to, I guess, long enough to boil water in the microwave. You're sitting there for long enough to do 2 bags of popcorn. 2. I know some of you are like, I don't use a microwave. Well, aren't you amazing? Everybody should be paying attention to the seismic activity, paying to what's going on with China, and paying attention to where our dollar and where our governments are going and the rules that they are setting up. Everything's all happening at once. If you didn't know, this is biblical. Dex, can you tell me about some of the stuff that's biblical over on the website?
Absolutely. So, guys, head over to marfooglenews.com and click on the thumbnail for today's show and scroll down until you find web-only content, big yellow section. If you don't know how to go there, click the link in the description. It'll take you directly to this show notes for today's show. Lots going on. There's a new call for a grand jury investigation. I'll let you guys look into what that is about. Some past politicians are saying they're staying in the political arena, and that's pretty interesting coming from her. You can look more into that. And lots of other updates on those topics that are just too hot for TV that we can't really cover or talk about here, or maybe they're just two-sided or too political. So go take a look, marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for today's show, and scroll down to web-only content.
I'm frankly just blown away, but not, right? After everything that we all found out about it, right? Thank you, Cheryl W., for heading over to PayPal during the show. I appreciate your support. Thank you for the $5 donation. I really do appreciate each and every person that drops in. Thank you so much. Everybody over on DLive. Thank you, everyone, including Code King. Thank you so much. And then Cynthia Lynn, who took the top spot. Thank you, and thank you. Can't say thank you enough for that. Code King, thank you for being number 2. Kelly2334, thank you for being number 4. Vault 11, Zippy Moons, M. Menching, Bear Claws, Lisa K23, thank you for your continued support almost every night. Thank you so much. Scooby-Doo Do Right, you as well. Always drop in. Texas Rob, how are you doing tonight? Thank you. Again, if I did miss a diamond, I apologize. 3 diamonds, in fact. I apologize that it went by so fast. Thank you, Texas, for supporting. And again, I did see your text or your tweet about being a mod during a mod show. That very well might be a possibility. Praying for the fam. The Lord keep all you safe in his hands. Blowtorch Barbie, thank you. What's her name? Thank you, everybody. It says 3 months later. Turtles by Vango. All right, Dex. Well, thank you for your service tonight. How much time do we have left?
It looks like, no, we're right at time, so we're calling it